I have $6,300 in minimum payments.
The US government is in astronomical amounts of debt. Why is it a bad thing if I am?
The summer ended and I was $10,000 in debt.
Okay, we got another debt video for you today. This one's pretty crazy. We got a lot of clips, a lot of comments from you guys. And I will say my previous video with all the good financial decision and advice, all the content that I got for that video took significantly longer than finding the content for this video. So seems like there's an endless supply of people getting into copious amounts of debt. So you could take this as entertainment, or you could use this as a learning moment for what not to do. We got a whole bunch of clips from a whole bunch of different people, along with your comments from previous videos. So if you want to be in the next video, leave your comments down below. But we're going to get into probably one of the craziest ones I've seen so far. I'm not going to say probably, it actually is. This woman, there are no words, honestly.
I have $6,300 in minimum payments. You heard that right. $6,340-ish net take home, minus the 2 months of the year that I get an extra paycheck. $6,300 out. 44 loans. 44! You heard that correct. Down from 45. I paid one off last week. That was fun. It freed up $50 a month. Heck yeah. And this week I had to make some hard decisions, and I let 2 credit cards get put into hardship, and one they closed the account, but they're going to allow me to have an interest-free 60-month loan, and I can pay them back whenever I want. And how does one acquire 44 loans? Carefully. Just joking. Life. Custody, divorce, gambling addiction, depression, life happens.
Okay, real quick, because I got a couple more clips from her to get a little bit more context. $6,300 in minimum payments, minimum. $75,000 a year in minimum payments. 44 loans, and the excuse is that life happens. So I'll just roll the next clip before we get into it a little bit deeper.
Did you know about the interest before you took the first one? No. When you're taking out these loans, you're not thinking about the interest. You're thinking, when you take out these types of loans, it's because you're in a very, very desperate situation. And I feel like these companies probably use that to their advantage a little bit. I'm sitting in a casino thinking, oh my gosh, how on earth am I going to pay my bills? That's what these loans were for me. It was a desperation thing. It wasn't like I was sitting there going, oh, man, I'm signing a 539% interest. And honestly, a lot of these companies, when you look, like when you go through, they don't show you the interest rate because it'd probably make you stop and pause. It literally, on a lot of these companies, you just go through, you scroll down, you click that you're signing your name, and then you go through like 5 documents. So unless you're like reading over these types of loans with a fine-tooth comb, you're not going to know the interest, because they make it to where that is not very upfront. Because all of these for me have been online. I haven't gone to like any like physical places. These have all been online loans. But anyway, yeah. So the answer is no. I did not pay attention to the interest. Have a good day.
Okay, so right off the bat, 500% interest rate is payday loans, like loan shark people. And I thought in the first clip she was joking around. She's like laughing. It's lighthearted, which is like a double-edged sword, especially for such a serious topic like massive credit card debt that she's in. But I didn't take it seriously when she was talking about being in the casino. So she's legitimately a gambling addict and has said it a couple times. And that's what I believe that most of this debt is actually from, not divorce and bills, because $6,000 in minimum payment. What could you even need to purchase to get loans that large and have that ridiculous of an interest, where your only option, I guess, was to get payday loan shark type people to get involved instead of just getting normal bank loans? Would still like screw you over, but it wouldn't be 500% interest. Unsurprisingly, especially putting all of this stuff online, she has gotten a decent amount of flack for it.
Jess, I used to be an 850 credit score. That might shock you. I'm not financially illiterate. I just made dumb decisions. And I'm working to correct those. Can we please be kind, though?
I'm going to say right off the bat, I don't believe the 850 credit score. This isn't a couple of dumb decisions being made and spiraling into $75,000 worth of minimum payments per year. And being financially illiterate, I mean, she admitted it herself. She just took a whole bunch of loans and did not read any of the fine print, so she had no idea that there were 536% interest on loans. So I don't think that this could really happen to somebody with literally a perfect credit score and who is financially literate. And because of that, she's gotten a decent amount of hate. However, when you put all of this online and her entire TikTok is basically centered around this, so her entire following is just because she has put herself into 6 figures worth of debt, you know you're going to get flack from people and criticism. I mean, yeah, it sucks that people are mean online, but people are going to criticize you with their anonymous username, and there's nothing you can really do about it. And I feel like you just kind of have to accept that if you're willing to put something online, especially as serious as this, when a lot of her content, it kind of makes a joke out of it. She's laughing, she's like messing around, when this is a very serious issue.
That never gets old. Hey, at least I'm somewhat centered today.
So I mean, 25 Affirm loans. We already talked about the buy now, pay later stuff in previous videos and her kind of making a joke out of it. I mean, you know you're going to get some people who don't like you online, but we have a comment from one of you guys that I'm going to go back to several times in this video. People refuse to take responsibility for their own spending habits. The brokest people I know are also the people that buy DoorDash at least once a day. So this first sentence could be put to almost any clip in this entire video. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, and we're going to be saying this over and over again throughout this video.
Beloved, I know your credit card bill is high. Okay, so listen to me. Lock in. This is how we're going to save money and also get that dopamine hit, because oftentimes we don't really want the thing. We want the dopamine we've attached to it. Oh no, I love a list. And this is my list titled Impulse Avoidance, and here's how it goes. So this is the thing that I wanted, the thing that I almost impulse bought, added to cart, almost checked out. The day that I found it or added it to cart, and then how much it was. If your list gets long like mine, you're not going to shame yourself, right? Because we live in an age where we're constantly being sold to. That is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to make sure you keep yourself in track for your financial goals. At the end of the month, my date here is wrong. You're going to add up this entire column of everything it would have cost. This month alone, and the month is not over, I almost impulse bought $750 worth of stuff. So at the end of the month, whatever my number adds up to, I'm going to divide it in half. Half is going to go into savings. Half I'm going to do whatever I want with. Half is important because you're honoring your commitment to save and then also rewarding yourself for that. And that is where the dopamine hit comes from.
Okay, so there's some things that I agree with and some that I don't in this clip. Now, I think it's a very good idea to do the Excel spreadsheet of all the impulse buying. And like she said, it is strictly impulse. It's just for the dopamine hit. As soon as you get your little knickknack or your random product from Amazon after a couple days, you're like, this kind of sucks. There's no reason why I got it. It was just the thrill of clicking buy online or going to a store and seeing something that you like and instantly purchase it. So I do like that you could actually bullet point the $750 you would have lost throughout the month. But doing the 50-50 split on all of the crap that you really didn't need and then taking half of that and still getting that dopamine hit won't really fix the problem. We could go very deep into the delayed gratification and all of that. But I mean, at that point, you're getting close to an addiction that doesn't really take away the dopamine hit and the want to constantly buy items you really don't need. So maybe it should be like a 90-10 split. So if you really still want to buy like one dumb thing a month, that'd be fine. But the 50-50 was still $375. I don't know about you, but that's almost an extra $100 a week. That's a decent amount of money. Now up next, we have a comment that, oh man, was from one of my older videos. I just have to read it. Can't blame women for spending because we have a lot of upkeep. We need to normalize men paying for women's lifestyles, and ultimately it will benefit men. This is on my doom spending video, by the way, which is just a ton of people being even worse than what we're going to see in this video, because it's just the mindless consumption. It's not even just getting into credit card debt because they bought a car, student tuitions, paying for rent or a mortgage, something like that. It's just really, really dumb Amazon shopping. I think I should just let this comment speak for itself. You could put whatever you want in the comments down below. Just gonna leave it here and we're gonna move on to the next clip. And this one is a series of screenshots from a post on TikTok helping my wife pay off all of her debt in under 2 years, $27K on her car, $13,000 in credit card debt, and $20,000 in student loans, in total being $60,000. Now, I'm not saying that this post is the problem, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing to help out your wife with credit card debt. I just thought the comments were very interesting. Why aren't all husbands like this? With 1,500 likes. I just thought it was very interesting, especially when there are poor financial decisions made, it turns into the husband's problems. And why aren't all husbands like this and paying off $60,000 worth of poor decision making? I just thought that was pretty funny. Now, we finally found one person in this next clip that is actually taking responsibility for their actions. Very, very rare to see in all of social media, to be honest.
If you don't know, my husband and I are $50,000 in credit card debt, and here's why we won't file for bankruptcy. I get asked this a lot, and filing for bankruptcy is also recommended by so many people. One of the main reasons why we really haven't even considered that is because we got ourselves into this mess, and so we also need to get ourselves out. What I have seen often from people's own stories is that they file for bankruptcy and then they find themselves back in the same place, which for me means that, yeah, you can file for bankruptcy, but what does that do for your behaviors?
So this woman is ahead of most people online, especially people who get very lucky, which we'll see in a couple clips from now, getting out of debt, or the previous stuff that we saw in the comments, like that woman wanting a husband to pay off all of her debts. Same for a lot of the people who will go and declare bankruptcy. You're not changing your behaviors. You're just basically getting a slap on the wrist, getting all of that debt wiped out, and then you could just restart doing the same thing over and over again. It will most likely happen and you'll go back into credit card debt and you'll stay in that cycle for the rest of your life. So at least we have somebody with a level head. I mean, they did get themselves into a hole, but they are getting themselves out without just pushing the reset button like so many doom spenders are. At least we got one of these in this video, right? But now we go back into the thick of it. We got another post from TikTok, things I regret putting on my credit card. $800 in Roblox. I mean, what could you, it's just cosmetics, right? And it's like rip-off Legos. $800? $33 in Starbucks, which in comparison is not that bad. I just didn't understand the little comment inflation Starbucks. I don't know what that means. Over $1,000 in a limited edition Lego, which if you really wanted to spin it, Legos are very expensive and very sought after. So limited edition ones, even though $1,000 seems crazy, Legos are ridiculously expensive in general now for literally plastic blocks. But limited edition stuff can actually resell for a lot of money. So we could try to hope that this limited edition Lego was resold for more money because it was sought after. I'm trying to be glass half full, but then we'll get into the rest of it. $5,600 for monthly rent in NYC. I've already talked about it a million times with New York. You want to pay almost $6,000 a month to rent an apartment in NYC instead of getting a what is that, $600,000 house? That's fine. That's your decision. It just won't be mine. $4,270 on an infrared sauna. I don't even know what that is, but I'm just saying right now that $4,000 for whatever this thing is probably is not worth it. And almost $43,000 for their tuition on top of the $6,000. What is that, like $55,000 in total? And just one particular comment got to me, which was on the first slide. Roblox, so real. How is that relatable? Who's spending $800 on Roblox? I have spent my entire life playing video games, probably a couple thousand hours into Fortnite during its peak. And during that entire time, I spent money to get the very first battle pass. And if you completed it, you got enough V-Bucks to buy the next battle pass. So that was the entirety of my spending on that game alone, even though I spent literally weeks of my life playing that game. And to try to make $800 in Roblox relatable just seems ridiculous to me. We have another one that is NYC related. Seems like it's a pretty common thing with people in debt, surprising.
So I moved to New York last spring and decided, you know what, I'm gonna have the best summer ever because my life just sucked in 2022. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna enjoy myself. So I did. I blew all my savings, put a bunch of money on my credit card, and yeah, the summer ended and I was $10,000 in debt.
I don't understand how that's an okay excuse. Just because your life sucked for a while, that it's okay to destroy all of your savings, however much that was, and to get yourself into 5 figures worth of debt. Was it really worth it for one summer to be $10,000 in debt, along with already living in one of the most expensive places to live in the world? Like, we could go back to the comment earlier. People refuse to take responsibility for their own spending habits. How is this okay to do? Just because your life wasn't going perfectly, it's okay to just destroy your future financially? Especially right now with a lot of people hurting. I don't think too many people's lives are absolute sunshine and rainbows right now, but it doesn't mean that that's the excuse to use to completely decimate your credit score and your financial future. So this one, we actually have somebody getting out of debt. Unfortunately, it was from complete luck, which is, I would say, very, very uncommon.
About 7 years ago, I had $52,000 in credit card debt, $28,000 in student loans, an $18,000 car note, and an $18,000 loan on my 401k. If you're good at math, you're gonna know we're talking 6 figures of debt and a shit ton of stress. How did I get out of this debt? Well, I can't really give a straightforward answer because it was a mix of accidental smart money decisions and luck. This was before my financial literacy era when I actually learned how to manage money. So just assume I didn't know shit. Long story short, I saved up to buy a condo. It went up in value by 40% in 3 years, and I sold it for $210,000 of profit without having to pay any capital gains taxes.
Okay, so I'm going to ignore everything other than the $52,000 in credit card debt, which was clearly the most amount of debt, but her getting extremely lucky with a condo that went up in value a ton got her out of that hole when she sold it, which she admitted was not on purpose. She wasn't trying to flip the property in a new up and coming area. It was complete luck. These are the type of people to get right back into debt. They get extremely lucky, or they have somebody else pay their debt off, or they declare bankruptcy, and then they could just restart this cycle. I don't think that she actually did this, but this specific scenario, I could see a lot of other people just thinking that they dodged a bullet, and then they get right back into it and start digging their grave again. The next post we're going to look at is somebody just like that, honestly. Instead of changing her behavior and spending habits, she decides that you should just become a social media influencer. I just paid off over $13K in credit card debt without saving money or changing my lifestyle one bit. How did I rack up $13K in debt, you might ask? Probably eating like that. I almost bought a house in 2022 that got me a few grand in debt. All right, whatever. That sucks, but at least it's not that bad. And then when that fell through, I moved into an apartment that was 3 times my previous rent. Why? Is that similar to like the woman who said that her life sucked in 2022, so she got herself into 5 figures worth of debt for one summer in New York City? Like, you just felt bad and just wanted to burn a whole ton of money? I didn't change my spending habits literally at all. LOL. Hilarious. How did I pay for all of it without cutting back or saving money? One word: TikTok. Great. Amazon storefront, brand deals, creator funds. This is exactly what I was talking about in previous videos with the walking billboard influencers we were seeing that were completely out of touch. Their entire life was just consumerism and brand deals and trying to get you to buy the products that they're promoting over and over and over every single day. So this is her advice for a way out of it. Just everybody become the next wannabe Kardashian. I'm not posting to brag, I'm posting to inspire. Yeah, sure, okay. But was I gonna stop going to expensive dinners and getting fun drinks with the girls? Never. Again, as soon as whatever money she's making right now dries up, guaranteed going right back into the hole. You don't need to spend less, you just need to get on your Zoom. And then the comment section is just as bad as this post. Love this for you, praying for this, praying to become a billboard for all of these makeup companies and fashion brands and trying to get people to just buy and consume more and more. Love this, baby, I'm clocking in. Love this for you, I just did the same and paid everything off. As if you could just decide to be an influencer and it instantly works. Yes, the opportunity to make money online is unbelievably huge now, but it doesn't mean everybody's going to be successful. If Say if literally everybody did this and everybody became an influencer, made some sort of content online, then there would be nobody to consume it. Not everybody could do this, and even if you try to become this, it isn't 100% that your brand or your type of content will take off and you'll actually be able to make enough money to get yourself out of the debt that you put yourself into. So this advice would just be dangerous for a lot of people to not actually change the way that they act, to just try to become another lifestyle influencer and hopefully make enough money to pay off all the copious amounts of spending that you do on a regular basis. Now this one, we have a clip from a woman who I just thought was funny because I think my entire train of thought is the exact opposite of this.
If I have learned anything about the vibration of money, is that it is an avoidant. It is an avoidant energy, and if you try to chase it too much, it's gonna run away from you. So when I start like working and striving because of the money, like if I start posting content specifically out of scarcity, like I need the money, I need the money, I need the clients, I need da-da-da. Or if I'm going out to coffee or to breakfast or to get food and I'm looking at the price tags, if I'm obsessively looking at money and focusing on money, it runs away from me. But if I go to the grocery store and I don't look at the price tags of things, my balance is actually probably $100 cheaper than it is when I'm looking at the price tags of things. And when I post content just because I love to post this and it makes me feel good and I'm not thinking about the financial income of that, then money starts pouring in for me.
Okay, so maybe this works for you, but for me, I am the exact opposite like this. When I finally started heavily focusing on my sneaker business reselling during COVID and quit my part-time job and obsessively went through numbers and how much money was coming in, coming out every single day, the returns, everything. It was like an obsession. I made more money than I ever did in my entire life. There were also other avenues that I was able to get sneakers that I was obsessive over, and because of that, I was able to beat out my competition and make more money and get more shoes and literally do everything the opposite of what she has done. So maybe it's worked for her, but at least for me, I look at the prices of everything that I go and buy. I am pretty obsessive with the budgeting, and because of that, I've been able to save and make a lot more money than I probably would have if I was just completely aloof. And I think she's trying to equate this to a lot of the relationship advice where, say if you're constantly going on dates and trying to find a boyfriend or girlfriend, it doesn't work out a lot of the time, and when you kind of step back and focus on yourself, somebody will come into your life, and that's kind of the similarity she's trying to do with money. I just don't think it works, at least in my opinion, and especially not looking at price tags of things that they're buying that could go down the same rabbit hole of buying random crap on Amazon or at the store and impulse buying. And all of these $10, $15, $30, $35 items add up very quickly and start getting you into debt. So up next, we have probably one of the most level-headed clips of somebody being in debt this entire video. So it's pretty refreshing from the madness we've listened to so far.
Why do you have so much debt at 20, dude?
Yeah.
What have you done?
$26,000 is on my car. The rest of it is all credit cards. The biggest chunk of it all really started whenever I was out of a job for about 2 months. I was putting all of the rent, all of the food, everything on just credit cards. I had a decent job. My roommate had a kind of shaky job, and then he didn't have a job. For the first few months, he was getting money from like his parents or family or whatever, trying to make his part, but that's not sustainable. So, you know, I had to start picking up his half. There was a 2-month period where neither of us had a job, so.
And how was that conversation with the roommate when you were taking on all the bills?
We had the same conversation of me just being like, you gotta figure out a way, and then there was no way being figured out. So
Did you get fired?
Yes. So I was trying to quit. I wanted to quit, but I didn't want to just like leave them because they were short staffed. We had stuff coming up. So I was like, okay, I'll quit in a month or two or something like that. But then like after a couple weeks, they said that my head wasn't in it anymore.
All right. So I would venture to guess that something had happened at his job that he's not telling us, because he was trying to quit when he was already in $20,000+ worth of debt. So that's probably not the best thing to do. And then he was let go for not being in the right headspace. Something must have happened. He's just not saying. But either way, I'd probably try to keep at least some sort of employment, as I'm actively in 5 figures plus worth of debt. I don't know how that situation would ever get any better. Now we got a clip from a woman that has just a lot of talking points, so we'll just go through it very quickly.
I saw a video of a gal talking about how normalizing credit card debt is extremely irresponsible, and as someone who has had credit card debt, has friends with credit card debt, and sees like the grander scope of the issue, I want to put my 2 cents in, because this is not an individual issue, this is a systematic issue. These credit card companies are predatory on people who do not have financial literacy, are predatory on people who need the money now. They are set up to exploit these people. It would be a different conversation if we were taught in high school, the school that we are all required to go to, if we were taught financial literacy, how to do our taxes, how to manage money, that would be very different. But that is not the case. This education and information is kept from people intentionally in order to prey upon them. So I think this idea of, oh, well, it's just the individual's problem that they're in credit card debt. No, not necessarily. Given the current situation, look at the US government. The US government is in astronomical amounts of debt. Why is it a bad thing if I am?
Okay, so we're going to start off with it being a systematic issue, and I get it. We've talked about it previously. Credit card companies are very predatory, but that's how they make money, with that interest and trying to get people to spend more and not be able to pay it back. So they get that interest payment, and that's how they make money. So we could go back to that comment again. People refuse to take responsibility for their own spending habits. I know we're in a world of consumerism and social media and buy and getting more and more, but it still is ultimately up to you. It's not like there's a gun to your head forcing you to impulse buy right now. And I think some of the blaming just credit card companies on all of the issues is just deflection. And then the comment about not learning finance in high school, at least with my own experience, I didn't learn it either. Some people did, some people didn't, but I've never been in credit card debt. I learned all of this stuff on my own on the internet because there's unlimited information on here. And I've learned all of my financial knowledge on the internet alone. School didn't teach me at all. So again, I took responsibility and did it all myself. I'm not going to blame the school for just being crappy at teaching, because that seems to be a pretty common issue for my entire generation now. So you got to take it in your own hands. And then the last comment with the US government being a whole ton in debt. I mean, I guess there is a point, but that's a pretty common excuse for a lot of people doom spending. Oh, the government's in trillions of dollars of debt. Why should I care? I'm just going to start buying a whole bunch of crap. Well, even though it isn't fair, I'm going to say that you will be financially ruined way faster than the US government. You're the one not going to be able to get any sort of loan on a car, for rent, or a mortgage. Landlords will look at your credit score and won't approve you, even if you do have the money. It's very, very dangerous to completely go bankrupt just because you're in constant debt, spending all the time, and blaming it and trying to live your life similar to the government will definitely not help you, because they're the ones who could print out unlimited money for free. You will just go completely broke. The next one we have is talking about more credit card companies and somebody who finally got out of debt.
So this morning I did something crazy. I made a credit card payment of $4,536, which completely paid off one of my credit cards. It was a card that I had maxed out when I moved from Kansas to Portland. I wasn't making a lot of money at the time, and I was adjusting to the high cost of living, so I used this credit card to do that. But it's a card that I've been wanting to pay off for a really long time, so I was really happy that I finally had the money to be able to just pay it off completely. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was kind of hoping that after I made the payment that the credit card company would drop down a banner that said congratulations, that balloons would fly into the air and confetti would fall from the sky, and it would just say congratulations on paying off this credit card.
And that's something that will literally never happen. The only way that these credit card companies make money is getting those interest payments when you put yourself in debt. So as soon as you could finally get out of it, they'll do anything in their power to try to get you back into debt. You won't be getting any congratulations or banners. We've seen in previous videos where a woman was paying it off and she was regularly getting credit line increases and emails saying, hey, look, we increased your credit line to be able to fund that next vacation. Like literally word for word, that's what they were saying, trying to pull her back into debt. That's just how it works. That's how these credit card companies will make their money, and you need to be responsible enough to not fall for their tactics. This next one is something that I've seen recently, and I think more people need to take note because of how quickly it racks up and starts burning a hole in your pocket.
So I was spending like $500 on just eating out alone. And on top of that, I also was an alcoholic. And I'm not saying that lightly because yes, I was addicted to alcohol. I was spending close to $200 to $300 just on drinks a month alone.
So, I mean, if you're going out to eat, of course, you're spending more money than to just eat and make your own food at your house. But along with that, getting drinks, getting cocktails, getting IPAs will drastically increase your bill very quickly. So much so that it would almost be better to just get 2 meals for whatever lunch or dinner you're having. Like, that's how expensive you're getting upcharged for this alcohol. I guess it really doesn't matter, and people will still pay an astronomical amount of money for a drink at the bar. And especially if you're not good with money, it could start building up very quickly. So the last one we have here is a post that is an absolute roller coaster, because the first picture actually nails it right on the head. Me and my ADHD hyperfixations as they progressively get more manic. So that's not a good start, but it is legitimately just that. So we'll get into it. My own nail tech era to save money, spending $100 on supplies. Next clip, this is half of what I kept to go, and I gave it to my other nail tech who does my acrylic. So all that money that she bought to do it herself to save money, she immediately just gave it to somebody else and then is also paying her to do it for her. So that is just heavily in the red on that one. Bought every possible paint supply from Michaels and use it maybe once a year. Unused 3-year-old canvases, but had to buy it because it was on sale. That is a pretty common problem. Even if it is or is not on sale, it's still cheaper to just not buy it. Spent hundreds on exotic plants. I had bags of soil in my apartment in college dorm. Bought 2 $200 monsteras. I don't know how to say that. I know absolutely nothing about plants. But we start getting into it right here. Actively buying and selling, trading exotic plants with strangers on Facebook. Now, to me, that seems like a pretty heavy niche where not a lot of people know about it. I have zero knowledge of it, but buying and selling exotic plants in the next picture here, literally farming them, this seems like it could actually be something pretty positive. When a lot of people don't know about a particular niche like this and it starts getting a little bit more expensive, this could actually be a pretty solid income. Until we get to the next clip and she bought a plant for $488. She basically just bought a PS5, but if she forgets to water it for a couple days, it'll just die. And then we start going into the other things, wanted to sell jewelry and then made an Instagram that basically didn't exist. Spent $100 on jewelry supplies in Japan because I'd saved so much money, but if you don't sell any of the jewelry, you're still in the red. And then she became a cat woman on social media, turning in and getting another cat, having to take care of 3 cats now again, just more and more money, and that is the end of it. At least at one point I was rooting for her with the odd exotic plants. Seems like it would be a cool niche to actually start making some income, and then the ADHD brain kicked in and they just started scattershotting and ended up losing a whole bunch of money. So that's all I have for this video. Very interesting comments, very interesting clips. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.